Abdullah is too young but has five more fights. Abdullah's also on the card as well.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be fighting another former opponent of Shakur Stevenson, Nakatilia, I believe his name is.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
What type of step up do you think that is from his last fight?
Well, like I say, he could fight. He could punch, right? That Natia, he can fight. He can punch.
Yep.
He got like maybe what, three losses, four losses, maybe. He didn't
Hmm.
been in with some of the best competition. He's one of them guys that you like a gatekeeper or one of them guys that you test. And so they put Mason up there. Mason got more fights because they put him in there with cold bums and they keeping him bit, which is not wrong with that. They knock over guys, so they able to keep him a little more busy. And he's younger than Keyshawn. You know what I mean? He turned at a younger age than Keyshawn, and 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 that's it. But Abdullah Mason is a top talent, and I just want to keep seeing him grow. There's no need to rush him in there. You know, with a Keyshawn Davis right now, with Shakur Stevenson, with them guys. Let him keep taking his time. He's his profile is building, his purses is building, and his the rounds are getting he getting better fights and more rounds. So just let him emerge into a contender right now. He's still a prospect in my opinion right now. Maybe one or two more fights he might be contender. Maybe even after this fight he might be a contender. But like I say, it's good fights. And at the same time, too, you don't want to rush him in there with a guy like Keyshawn. So I would probably put him in there more with a Morataya, probably. If I would put him more in that route. You know what I'm saying? The WBA is Tank. WBC, of course, is Shakur, and that like so. We want to keep him around the WBO in around that access. But like I say, in the IBF, Tech rank got the IBF too. So I don't know, but I think it's a good fight. I can't wait to see Abdullah Mason. He keeps shining. There's no rush for this thing. There's no rush, and they're not putting him in a fight where it needs to be a rush. He's fighting guys that he should beat, and shout out to him. The more you climb them steps, the better it was. So that way, when he finally is there, he doesn't have they don't have an excuse. If him and Keyshawn do end up fighting, he doesn't have an excuse. So he wasn't ready, or it was too early in his career, or he didn't have the proper fights to get him prepared for it. Hopefully he's ready, and if he do, I say, I mean, I don't see nobody beating Keyshawn. But shout out to Mason and everything that he doing.
Some of the best matchups. Do you feel like guys like Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney, those matchups are really good because these guys might stay in the pocket more, might want to engage a little bit more versus throwing them in there with like a Rollies or these other guys that are just really just thumpers.
Yeah. The black fighters gonna be the best fights. I mean, look at Floyd, because you can't go nowhere without talking about boxing in this modern day age without Floyd Mayweather. But if you go back, like I'm saying, you would watch him against Chop Chop Corley, you watch him against Sharmba Mitchell, you watch him against
Zab.
Emmanuel Augustus. These was and Zab. You're saying you looking at some real good fights, high class quality fights, and so I think the same thing will be had, but you couldn't get Devin to do it. You couldn't get Devin to do it. I mean, as competitive as their sparring session was, which I don't know, they was like younger, and I think Shakur started to take them over at the end. But it was a great fight. That was the fight to be had. If I'm taking anything, and I would say with Shakur, you can't hit him, but Lord bless him, he hit you hard enough to keep you honest, but not nothing to really blast you out of there. So if I'm taking any fight, I'm gonna take the Shakur fight based on that situation. But again, if I can't hit you too, that's just as frustrating. He's an enigma. Who can beat him? But that was a good fight for Devin. I think that'd have been a good fight. Even Richard Hitchison. But the way Devin fighting, I didn't get to see it. But the way they was talking about it, that way, it don't seem like he almost ready to retire, or you know, it's gonna be one way or the other. He's gonna get clipped and knocked out, or he gonna become such a runner and a boring type of guy that nobody gonna do business with him.
That people were saying that Ramirez past his prime, but obviously the power is last to, go. But in the same time, it was hard for him to pull that trigger fighting Devin. But some people want to know, hey, is he a shot fighter? Some coaches say it might be too early. What do you think?
Well, like I say, I didn't get to see the fight, but from Ramirez's the loss to Josh Taylor, the loss to Arnold Barboza, and things like that. Ramirez was an overachiever anyway. He came out of the blue to win the Olympics, to make the Olympic team,
Yeah.
and he won the championship. He beat Mo to unify the championship. I forgot who he beat to win the WBC title, but he was a unified champion. I would just say he was an overachiever. And that's it. I never think Ramirez was no big puncher or that great of a fighter, but he was a solid fighter, and he made the best of what he could do. Now, like I say, we thinking that on paper, because this guy not a big puncher, but he's a tall kind of guy. He give you in the mode of a Ryan Garcia. So we want to see how Devin really reacted. Even if he would have got caught first, then maybe get on your bike and move or try to adjust. But he didn't even get a chance to even what I say. You know what I'm saying? They said it about Shane when he fought Vernon that all he was worried about the right hand. Well, the comment he when he got hit with the right hand, he didn't go nowhere. Pacquiao with the left hand with Barrera. He got hit with the left hand. The second time, he didn't go nowhere. So they always make it seem like you so devastated by a shot that hurt you, or you so terrified of it. But he didn't stand in the fire to see if that hook was could he withstand a hook from a solid 40 pounder.
Mm,
So questions remain.
right. Ricky, why you worried about excuses for Abdullah, but you ready to fight Edwin off of almost a 2 year layoff and injured? That's an excuse he can use.
Who can use? What is he saying?
Who can use the excuse? Uh Edwin could possibly use the excuse, maybe. I'm assuming.
Listen. At the same time, though, first of all, what we need to understand, all my viewers need to understand, is that this is the Keyshawn Davis show. That's it.
Mm.
That's it. We all watching Keyshawn. They come to see Keyshawn. Trick
So
Nolte, appreciate you.
it's gonna be a good show. Virginia Beach, right? It's gonna
Oh
be well
yeah,
no
yeah. It's in Norfolk, Norfolk. Keyshawn hometown at the Scope. Just like I say, the house that Sweepy built. Like I keep saying this. I don't know why you're trying to hate at me, but I'm trying to have an intelligent conversation. So I
Mhm.
just went on about it. I just said who else would Keyshawn fight. I just said that, and then at the same time, again, it's up on De Los Santos to accept the fight. He tied in with them and say, if you want something from me, you got to do something for me. I'm doing something for you. You want me to make your guy a bigger star? You trying to do this? Well, give me another fight first. Put us on the same card. Give him a gimme and give me a gimme, and you know what I mean, or whatever. And then we can fight. So that way we can take all the. If I'm De Los Santos, I want to have the best chance to win the championship. You know what I mean? But again, the thing about that, it's like I say, Del Santos probably didn't already made up in his mind, and people with him. If you didn't go after a guy, which they say Shakur Stevenson can't crack an egg, and his hand was hurt, going there with one hand, if you can't go after and sell out against a guy like that, man, shit, you ain't got a chance with a two-fisted puncher like Keyshawn, mean as a motherfucker too. Man, shit, you ain't got a chance. So they probably cashing him out. He probably figuring the cash out. He probably not even trying to go fight one other person, or you know what I mean? Because you can get a fight. Now, if they want to put their money behind De La San a little, he could get a fight. He could have fought a Natalia or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? One of them old opponents that he could have fought one of them guys, but obviously they didn't. They signed up for the fight, and he signed up for ass whooping. So that's on him. It's all on him. And really, the pressure is on Keyshawn, because you talking about a guy who can punch. You talking about a guy who been off long layoff. You know what I mean? So you got all these other factors mitigating different things, and everybody just gonna criticize Keyshawn. In the end, it's all about Keyshawn. So if
Getting
somebody can
into
come out with,
what we said.
excuse me, if somebody else can give me this guy instead of being a hater, if when I say that, I just say negative comments for no reason, without no context. If somebody can give me anything better, or can go into the rankings and see a better fight, I'm more than happy to discuss that.